and welcome. Nice to have you with us on a Tuesday afternoon as we begin a broadcast day here on Mad Dog Unleashed. Yours truly, Justin Verlander, as we chat. Good to have you aboard, Eddie Erickson. In today, of course, Colin Schmeling, Billy Z's in the house here, too. We got a lot to do, and, of course, for our afternoon, new book, Tony Castro and Garrick and Ruth. That a little bit later on. All the NFL, all the NBA, and, of course, all the NHL playoff games last night and the baseball. We got games, of course, in San Juan tonight with the Twins and the Indians. Ohtani tonight against the Red Sox. Aaron Rodgers with his contract. We got a lot to do on a great Sirius XM 82. Something different to start the program today, and I'll tell you, anytime you get a chance to talk to this person, you put him on and you make sure that the program is organized properly. And we have an opportunity here with Justin Verlander, going to the Hall of Fame. He of the Houston Astros, and he says hello here on this busy show. Justin, it's a pleasure. Christopher Russo, how are you today, pal? Okay?
Chris, yeah, doing great, man. Good to talk to you.
Good to have you aboard, Justin, and it's a pleasure. And thank God you came through. We got a lot to do here in a few minutes, and we got a big thing we want to promote as well. But thank God, Game 2 and Game 6 last year against the Yankees, two of the great performances you're ever going to see. I would think you're probably a little more proud of 6 because you were trailed 3-2. How about those two starts? Let's start there. How about those two starts against the Yankees last year in the ALCS? What do you have for me?
Yeah, I think, it's definitely something I'll look back at in my career and be particularly I'm proud of. Like you said, Game 6, when your team's back's against the wall and it's a must-win game, I think those games, when I look back, a couple games in Oakland for Detroit,
right?
Those are the ones that really stick out. Because your team is looking to you to give them a chance to move on, and obviously it's a team effort. But if I go out there and stink, we're probably losing. So.
And I tell you, too, Justin, and listen, let's be fair about the way baseball has turned to here in the last few years. You're a throwback. I love the old-time stuff. With bullpens today, you don't get a chance to see the great pitcher have to figure out a way, third or fourth time through a lineup, navigate his stuff in a big playoff game because everybody wants to run to their bullpen. So those kind of performances, you telling Hinch, leave me in the game 2, I'm finishing this. Those kind of performances are few and far between in 2018 baseball. How about that for a sec?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit of a dying breed. I think I've been pretty fortunate to be able to do that. I had a manager early in my career in Jim Leland that allowed me to go out and, I'll never forget. He told me one time he came out to the mound, he's like, I don't have anybody better in the bullpen. I got stronger as the game went on. He's like, this game is yours, win or lose. So I think having him allowed me to prove that I could do that and be strong late in games. And, that was one of the first questions I had when I got to Houston. I was like, I think this is a benefit that I can bring to the team. I'm somebody that can throw 120 pitches if need be, and I hope you utilize me that way. And AJ was like, we plan to do that. So to have the ability to go 9 innings of the playoffs, man, that was a pretty cool moment.
Oh, it sure was. Do you feel the championship, does it mean the same to a player in baseball traded that late? You, of course, in August. You're not there from day one. You made 5 starts in September. Then you were the linchpin in the postseason. Does it feel the same winning a championship compared to, say, being there from the first day of spring training? How about that?
Yeah, I think those guys, this organization, the team, my teammates, maybe did a great job of making me feel like I was at home right away and like just part of the team. And I think that yes, I felt like I was there all year. It was just that kind of special bond that happened so quickly. So it was a pretty great feeling.
A lot of people say that last second you almost were very undecided at 11:58 that night whether you wanted to go to Houston, and you sort of, the GM Avila came to your house and said, Justin, this is good for you, good for us. I know you wanted to stay in Detroit. Is that accurate, Justin? Did you think about it long and hard before you approved the trade?
Absolutely. You're talking about a life-changing moment. I was thinking about my legacy in Detroit. So many different things were on my mind, and I didn't have long. So absolutely, there was a point in time where I almost didn't go. But in the end, it came down to having the chance to win. I think earlier that day, Detroit had traded Justin Upton, and that to me was like the signaling of the end of the era. We're selling off, and it's going to be a little bit of a tough go here for a bit, in my opinion. So that to me was like, hey, if you're going to get out, now's the time to do it. So when it came down to it, the Houston Astros were the best team in the American League, and I knew that I would have a chance to pitch in the playoffs, and I had 2 more years on my contract at that point, and they looked to be a great team for those 2 more years. So it was when it came down to the absolute deadline, the chance to win is what sold it.
Now you had to do it, Justin Verlander. Flonase, we'll do a little of that here today, too. Good to have him with us, giving us a couple minutes on a busy show. You had to do that, Justin. Let's face it. You pitched in the World Series in 06 and 12, so you got a little taste of it. Tigers ran into a couple of buzzsaws there, so you had to have you got a chance to win a championship. You knew the Tigers were in the regroup. You're going to the Hall of Fame, but we all know that, winning those games in October late, that's why you guys play. So to me, you got a chance to win a couple more championships too. I know at the time you said, you know what, do I really want to leave the Tigers? That's why you play, right? To pitch in those kind of games, win championships, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, I think as a kid, when I'm in my backyard as a 10-year-old playing catch with my dad, we're dreaming of a scenario where we're playing the World Series. It's not just a regular game. It's, hey, Game 7 of the World Series. Make this pitch and you win the game. So that's why we play. You play to win. You play to win a World Series, or win a World Championship, and what a special opportunity it was to do it for a city that really needed it last year after the hurricane too. We had a special bond with that city, and it's pretty storybook.
Game 5 is as good a game as you're ever going to see. You grew up in Virginia. It sounds like your younger brother played too, but it seems like your dad knew what he had right away. Got you to some, I guess, the Richmond Baseball Academy, and then you end up at ODU. So, big, tall kid, you're throwing the ball hard, 85, 86 miles an hour in high school, and your father seemed to know what to do with you right out of the gate. How about that for a sec? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's funny. I think he knew enough to know that he didn't really know what he was doing, which is how I ended up at the academy.
Wow.
Funny enough, when we started off pitching, we basically like a How to Pitch for Dummies book in the backyard, and literally he's like looking at these pictures, going, "Okay, you step back with your left foot, and then you turn your right." Like step-by-step directions on how to pitch. He didn't really have a baseball background or anything, but I loved baseball. I loved playing baseball. I love pitching. So he did everything he could to help me. And, I was actually never like, you talk about 86, 87, I topped out at like 91 or something in high school. Nowadays, that's nothing. I was kind of middle of the road, didn't really mature into my body until college. And that's when I started throwing upper 90s. But, I guess all the way through high school, man, it was just I had fun playing the game, and that's why I played it, because I loved it.
Did you play other sports in high school? Did you go to AAU tournaments? Yep. Did you play other sports, or was it just baseball in high school?
No, I did other sports, which I think is important. I played basketball, played a little bit of soccer, but mostly by the end of my high school, it was basketball and baseball.
Do you think that we've had so many Tommy Johns with these young kids because they're throwing the ball too much and too hard at an early age? Do you buy that theory or not?
I buy into some of it. I think it's a combination of things. But I think a lot of it's mechanics. I think that we now know how to teach guys to throw harder, but a lot of times that's not really beneficial for a guy's arm. So I think that's why you're seeing a lot of TJs.
The 06 and 2012, Sandoval in that game 1, 06, that week off killed you. You were much better than the Cardinals, but you had that week off, and I think that hurt the Tigers. Which one bugs you more? Now, you won a championship, so you got it out of the way, but which one bugged you more, 06 or 2012?
I both are kind of similar. I think 06, nobody really knew how bad my arm was hurting. It was my rookie year, and I wish I could have felt good and gone back and been able to pitch the way that I can now, late in the season. 2012, that game 1 kind of bugs me. They're both different, but like you said, I really wish that we could not have the week off. I thought both times we had the better team. It's just that the time off killed us. It's the one sport that time off has the opposite effect. You know, basketball, football, everybody gets rested and they come out strong. Baseball is the one thing where timing for hitters and pitchers, you don't want it to get off.
Yeah, I think it killed you in 06, especially 06. I think the Giants were good in 12.
Agreed.
And, that was a rough night. Sandoval hit. Does it bother you? I was at that game, and me being a Giant fan, it didn't bother me. I can tell you that now. Does I mean, Pujols has done it. He's not the only guy. Ruth did it. You know that. Does it bug you? I mean, you're going to the Hall of Fame, and you gave up 3 home runs on a World Series game. People don't realize that. Does that bother you right now, thinking about that game?
I gave up 2.
Oh, so that's right. He hit a third against. I'm sorry. You're right. But he hit 3 homers in the game. Does it bother you that you started that game in 2006?
I guess you kind of touched on it. Now that I've won a World Series now. That helps alleviate some of it. But yeah, I mean, there's always everything gets blown up in a bigger proportion. Singular pitches that you make a mistake on. You can relive those moments forever. Had I not won a World Series, I mean, yeah, that would have probably been something that lingered on my mind for a long time. Just because, hey, what could I have done different? Could I have done a different pitch? Could I have done this or that? Could I have executed it better? All these things that you think about, but you just kind of you move on from it. That's what you do.
How proud are you? Not many pitchers have won both the Cy Young and an MVP in the same season. We know Willie Hernandez did it with the Tigers. Yeah. Neuhauser did it. By the fact, a lot of them with the Tigers. Neuhauser did it with the Tigers back in the 40s. Yep. Guidry did not do it. I don't know if Gooden did it in 84, but you did, and very few in the history of the sport have done that with your incredible year there in 04, that 1 year there when it was a 2011. Give me that's pretty impressive. You won both in the same year. Give me some thoughts on that for a sec. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, it's something I'm pretty proud of. It's to be linked with. I think before Kershaw did it, I think I was the 8th player pitcher to have won an MVP and Cy Young. So, I mean, when you start talking that limited number of guys to have done something in the game that's been around for 120 plus years, it's pretty cool to be in that class of baseball players. So, I was just locked in all year. I consistently still now go back and look at video of 2011. If something is a little off, I'll go back and look at that time to see what I was doing different. And I was pretty much just locked in all year. It was just kind of one of those years where pretty much every time I took the mound, I felt like I was where I wanted to be with the ball in my hand.
2.40 ERA, 24 wins is phenomenal. Have you lost? Now, when need be, you can rear back and have the same velocity, but in the course of a game, have you lost a mile or two compared to where you were in 11 with inning by inning fastball, or you have the same velocity you've always had?
Probably 1 or 2 ticks. I think I would still run it up, 100, 101 in 2011. Now. It's probably I don't know if I've quite gotten there I haven't gotten there this year, but last year I still hit 100 once. But overall, I think it's probably down 1 or 2 ticks, but not much. Still plenty there.
No, I mean it's still there when you have to have. Do you? I mean, how many times in a big game do you rear back? And you did it to the Yankees a lot in those 2 games. You can, man on third, less than 2 out. 2 strikes, you need a strikeout. I mean, you still feel as confident as you've always had that when you throw as hard as you can, you have a chance to blow the hitter away, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think as I've gotten more mature, baseball mature, I guess I don't kind of go into that just like hair on fire, just throw it absolutely as hard as I can. I feel like I'm a little more calm and kind of processing information and not just rearing back and throwing as hard as I can, like when I was younger. Now I still do that occasionally, but I think it's a little more under control now.
Well, how long does it take you to prepare for a start, Justin? Does it take you a half a day, the day before, going through video? Are you a video guy? How about preparing for a start? You're going to start here. I don't know where the Astros go from this series with Seattle. You pitch Sunday with Chicago. Okay. How about White Sox? They can hit. How hard? And it might be cold. Give me your thoughts about preparing for your next start. How do you do it? Let me hear.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start. I kind of start now. I'll start just kind of going over guys in my head, kind of recalling at bats against them, and then the day before, I'll really kind of start looking at video and numbers and kind of looking into scouting reports. And then the day of, when I get to the park, it's the first thing I do. I spend probably 2 hours on the start day, just kind of looking through everything on whoever's in the lineup that day.
You do. So you prepare pretty much then. You know everybody. You know what Abreu is going to do. You know what this young kid Moncada is going to do, what he likes. You have a pretty good game plan going in these games, correct?
I feel like I have a very good game plan on every single guy that I'm going to face.
You do. And let's before I continue, let's do Flonase. I have terrible allergies. It destroys me in May. I do nothing but sneeze. I can tell you, many. If you ever watch that dopey little TV show, you'll see all me with the tissues blowing my nose left and right. Will Flonase help me, Justin? What can you tell me with that? Let me hear.
Yeah, it will. I mean, look, this was a perfect partnership for me. Look, we play a springtime sport. My allergies, I'm a serious allergy sufferer. I have been as long as I can remember, and Flonase helped me the most. I tried pills, I tried a lot of stuff, and it just didn't work the way Flonase has. So I think that's why it was such a great partnership for me, because I want to get the word out. I think springtime's such a great time, start a baseball season, but if you suffer from allergies like it sounds like you do and I used to, it can be a miserable time. So that's why it was such a great partnership for me to help spread the word that, I think using Flonase once you get on a consistent basis, it can really help you be greater than your allergies.
Oh my God, the allergies are tough. But how about that run? You win a World Series in Game 7, and then you find yourself in a medieval church in Tuscany, getting married to everybody's dream in Kate Upton. That's not a bad 48 hours for Justin Verlander, is it not?
I think some of my friends, as they put it, it's downhill from here. It's probably the best 48 hours you're ever going to have.
Well, yes, but how about that? But you ever think a kid growing up in Virginia at ODU, you'd be winning a championship for the Astros and getting married to Kate Upton 48 hours? That's not bad, right? Fill me in on that for a sec. Let me hear.
Pretty good, man. I definitely don't complain about it. I'm pretty happy, and it was storybook, man. Like the second that we decided to say yes to that trade, it couldn't have gone any better. To the way I pitched for the Astros, to winning the World Series, to getting married. It was just it was storybook, man. I don't know what else to tell you. It was it's one of those moments in life that you don't take for granted, and you just enjoy the ride.
Unbelievable. All right, quickly here on the Astros so far this year. I know that little 3 out of 4 right now, not hitting a lot. The Angels are playing well, although Tani, you see them next week. You will pitch one of those games, I believe, against the Angels. Will you not? Yes, you will. Because you'll pitch what, Friday with the White Sox?
Yeah. Yeah, you're a start ahead of me already. I'm still focused on the White Sox.
I believe because I know you play the Astros. So wow, you're going to get the Angels next Wednesday. I believe you'll probably pitch that game. So that'll be fun. So that'll be fun. But how about the Astros right now? I said all year that unlike the Cubs, I believe this team will be hungry, young team. Altuve signed. You got you for the whole year. Here's Garrett Cole. Houston will have a big season off the championship. You still feel that today as we play the first month of the season? Let me hear about that for a sec.
I do. The bats will show up. That's these guys. It's impressive, Chris. To come in this locker room, you would never know that these guys won a championship. Man, they're so hungry. They come ready to play every day. Everybody loves the game of baseball. It's a great team, and it's a great atmosphere to be a part of and be in every day. And it makes it fun to come to the park. I think it's a great team. Baseball, it's funny. you don't just say, hey, we're going to show up in October. You got to play. It's 162 games, man. It's a lot. So it's a grind. And I think, at the end of the season, I think we'll be right where we want to be.
Absolutely. Do you feel confident with the relationship? We know there was a lot of friction there in the off season with free agency and everything along those lines. You were outspoken. A lot of players were. Do you feel that there's still a decent relationship with Park Avenue? Should we be worried as baseball fans about the next labor agreement? You'll still be around. Give me a little rundown on that for a sec. What do you feel there?
I feel like there's some tension. I hope things can get figured out over the next 4 years, but I think this free agent market this offseason was a big it was kind of eye opening for a lot of guys, and I think showed some issues between ownership and the players that need to be ironed out.
Hopefully we'll be okay. And did you think Frazier's home run, Justin, was going to leave the park there in the 7th inning of Game 6?
I did. He hit it pretty good. I knew it was going to be close, but I definitely thought there was a chance.
I tell you, but I don't care who you are in Houston. Those two performances are the two biggest performances in the history of that franchise. And they had Ryan, they had James Rodney Richard. I mean, this is a team that has had a lot of Mike Scott. They've had a lot of big pitchers. Game 2 and Game 6 is why the Astros won. That's got to make you feel pretty good, right?
It does, man. It's especially the way things happen coming over late, and those guys looking to me to step up and perform, and to be able to do that and help us win a championship. Yeah, it's something I'll never forget, and I'm just so happy to be able to be a part of it.
Good job, Justin. Thanks for so much time. Flonase, we take. We'll keep in touch. Thanks for a few minutes here today. Appreciate it.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Chris.
You got it. Justin Verlander of the Tigers of the Astros. Some good thoughts with him. That's a great job by Bill and Eddie. It's a good execution there. He didn't come on for us. He came on for the Flonase, but we took advantage of it, and there you have it. I won't take a break here because I got 4 minutes, so let me give you a little quick update as far as the baseball is concerned here in the next 24 hours. First off, tonight you got Ohtani, and he pitches tonight against the Red Sox, and that's an interesting game. It's on TV. MLB Network will have it at 10 o'clock. And that is an interesting game. Obviously, Ohtani, got snowed out Sunday in Kansas City. He hasn't pitched in 9 days. He's going up against David Price tonight. He pitched against the A's in his first 2 games. He won them. Yes, I think he got both wins in both games. He retired 19 consecutive batters in the second game last Sunday. Into the 7th inning. The A's can hit too. They're free swinging, but that's a decent offense if they hit the ball out of the ballpark. Now the Red Sox with the great lineup. Yes, no Bogarts. Understood that. Get that. And no Pedroia, but still the Red Sox are a good team and a good offense, and it's Price tonight. And the Red Sox are also 13-2, and the Angels are 13-3. So that is a very interesting game tonight out in Anaheim. They will sell the game out too. Remember that. April sellout in Anaheim for the Red Sox with Ohtani pitching. We'll keep an eye on that. That's number 1. Number 2 tonight, the Indians will play the Twins. These are twin home games. The games are in San Juan, Puerto Rico, at the stadium there, that little 18,000-seat stadium. It sounds like that, Puerto Rico recovering as really most of the Virgin Islands are with that horrendous hurricane situation last August and September. They had 2 or 3 of them go right through there basically in a 3 or 4 week period. And San Juan, of course, got hit. So did a lot of the outskirts there in Puerto Rico, but they will play the 2 exhibition games tonight. Not exhibition, 2 real games. What am I talking about? It's not spring training. 2 real games tonight. The Indians and the Twins. Again, twin home games. Twins lead the division. Indians, of course, there too. FS1 has the first game tonight. ESPN has a second game tonight, and that is interesting. A lot of Robert Perez from the Indians, Rosario from the Twins, Lindor from the Indians. So there are some Puerto Rican natives on both these franchises. Sandy Alomar Jr. is a coach on Cleveland, so we'll see what the enthusiasm level is. They love baseball in Puerto Rico. That is item number 2. There are 2 home games, both in Minnesota. First time these 2 teams meet this year, and the games games are in San Juan. That's number one. That's number two. Number three, if there's ever going to be a game that's going to jumpstart the Nationals as we continue and finish with baseball this first half hour, it is obviously going to be the game last night. 6-1 Mets, top of the eighth. Nationals 7-9, playing horrendous baseball, not playing well at all, being looking disinterested, and just not hitting on all cylinders. DeGrom pitching great. He starts the eighth inning, first time all year the Met starter had started at the top of the eighth. He leaves a 2-1 and 1 out at 6-1. No problem. Met bullpen's been ice. And what happens after that? The Nationals get 6 runs on a bunch of relievers, including Familia, who walked in a run to give the Nationals the lead. And then, of course, they hit a home run in the ninth for a little insurance, beat the Mets 8-6. If there is ever a game that is going to jumpstart Washington in 2018, last night is the game. I don't think the game is a big deal for the Mets. I think the Mets could recover. Their bullpen has been lights out. They were due to have a bad one, so you live with that. But I think the Nationals needed a game like that in the absolute worst way, and they got it. So you keep an eye on Washington in that sequence for what they did. That was a big-time win in the eighth, in the ninth, against the Mets, having lost 3 straight to the Mets last week in Washington. I thought that was significant. Washington beginning a road trip. They go to L.A. for the weekend. Kershaw, San Francisco after that. Not easy. And the Nationals really could be in trouble here if they had a rough week against the Mets, and now they shouldn't off winning that first game. Those are your 3 baseball items, and 3 more postponements last night. We're at 25 for the month of April. Last year for the season, they had 26. And last year for the month of April, they had 12. And already we're at 25. And it's bad when a bunch of ice punctures the roof at at the Rogers Center, and of course there's no game for the Blue Jays and the Royals. As a matter of fact, they've already started today. They have a doubleheader at 3 o'clock. Kansas City and in Toronto. Anyway, update time. Jeremy at 3:30. We'll get your calls in momentarily. Mr. Huber's got it here on Mad Dog.